will go live second. This
Groovy.
is show number 3, isn't it?
Yes, I do believe so. All right. Now I got to think of something clever to put in the chat.
Ah, yeah, good point.
I don't know why. It's just a need I feel. Let's see.
I feel a need for thinking. There's my live
Okay.
chat.
Insert
Allegedly.
clever statement here. There, that should do the trick. But you know what? I don't like looking.
Moosecow.
Proceeded to Moosecow.
Yes.
That sounds like it could be a painful thing.
It may well be. I'm not quite sure yet. Now we just need to figure out things to talk about.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to find out where I can watch the live stream in a proper live stream channel, or like anyone else would.
Yeah.
Because I've gone internet stupid, is what it is.
I can always send you the link because the notifications come up for me.
There should be a button. I don't know what to do with it.
Why is there never a big friendly button?
No, never is. How the hell did? Hey, Wolfie's around. How you doing, Wolfie? I didn't think we'd get anyone looking in on us this quickly. Right on.
And Fenris is around.
Oh, cool.
And he's called me a stacker. I'm not quite sure what a stacker is.
Neither am I. It does sound like an insult that comes out of the UK, though. And evil gunny.
Well, I'm a shelf stacker, a people
Hot
stacker.
damn.
Am I?
We got Wolfie, we've got Fenris, we've got an evil gunny. Shit, this is a party.
What am I stacking, Fenris? Please, let me know.
Maybe it has to do with the oppression stack.
Perhaps.
The oppression Olympics and all that horse shit.
Just let me know, people, if my voice is coming through okay or not. Because I've had a couple of changes to my system since the last time I used this. So, level checks are kind of needed.
Yep, fucking gender bias and all that. Or something. AeroCore's system is gender non-conforming. Or is it address non-conforming? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know how
my
that shit
system
works.
has been threatened this morning with a total reformat if it doesn't behave.
Oh, yes, you got the blue screen, didn't you?
I did. Pain in the ass thing, but I think I figured out what the problem was.
Yeah, Microsoft.
Well, other than Microsoft.
Oh, well, if we're going to get into layers.
That's just kind of like background radiation, Microsoft.
Yeah, no kidding. Wolfie says AeroCore is just so soft.
My volume there.
Either that or your scales.
It might be soft, but at least I'm not a furry.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I went there.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, it seems that
Well, it's okay.
somehow I think I know exactly what that problem is.
See, now it's going to reverse.
Because last time I was using this, I had the Yeti microphone.
Ah. Whoa, I'm getting some good background noise on you now.
Yeah, I was just going to turn the boost up.
Oh, okay. His voice is low and soft. Needs a but more volume. Wolfie says.
Needs a bit more volume. Volume.
Oh yeah, volume.
Volume.
I think volume is a material used in creating a wedding dress, but I'm not sure.
I thought that was velour.
Who would make a velour wedding dress?
A
That
chap.
would get kind of hot.
A chap.
Yeah, I suppose.
Burberry velour wedding dress.
Just a fucking hot, sticky wedding. That's all I want.
There's no excuse for you, Wolfie.
Just like the rest of us.
Oh wow, I am loud now, aren't I?
Yeah, it seems like it.
I've gone from next to nothing to extremely loud. I'm just watching my levels, and then let's try round about there.
Alright, let's try that.
Hopefully I'm not deafening anybody, and if I am, I'm not paying compensation. You can all... To pay compensation, you'd have to all start donating to my channel, so I'm not totally broke. It kind of defeats the purpose of compensation.
Yes, it does.
So I think, yeah, we were going to get into the discussion of cartoons, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
because I was watching
a little bit.
I was watching something on Netflix the other day. It was all of the toys that we grew up with, and they had like G.I. Joe, and they had He-Man, and they had something else that I can't remember what the hell it was. I think it might have been the Care Bears or something like that. And it was actually quite interesting to note that the first of the toy-related cartoons was actually He-Man. But it wasn't the order that they do it now, where they create the cartoon and then merchandise it. It was actually, they had the toys first, and
then created the merchandising campaign.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even so much a merchandising campaign. It was basically the creators of the toys bullshitted the board of directors, saying, "Oh yeah, we got 2 1-hour specials to go with the toy line," which basically he pulled out of his ass at the time to try and sell it, even though there was nothing.
Then after the board approves it, he gets on the phone and says, "Hey, quick, get Jim in here with the camera."
Well, originally it started out with each action figure was going to come with a comic book, until somebody pointed out, well, these are aimed at like 5 to 10-year-old children who can't read. I went, oh right, fair point. So they went away and came back the next day, and he pulled the cartoon series out of his ass. It started off being two 1-hour specials, and then Filmation turned around and said that, well, for a little bit more, we can do your full series.
Might as well.
But then after that, everybody else started doing the cartoon series with the...
Well, with the toy. Now, Gunny says down 3 to 5% on the volume, or take some bass out.
I like my bass, because it's all about the bass.
No, stop that.
My voice is naturally bassy. I can't take it out unless I squeeze my nuts, and I'm not doing that for you guys for nothing.
Not even for $20 or a Scooby snack.
Oh, the Scooby snack nearly got me, but by the time they mailed it to me, it'd be stale.
Yeah, but if you take some marijuana, the stale part won't matter.
Well, yeah, I think that's kind of how Scooby and Shaggy did it. They were just a pair of stoners, weren't they? I mean, why else?
I just keep wondering. It seems the girls were pulling Scooby snacks out of nowhere, and it leads me to question where they're hiding them.
Well,
Scooby and Shaggy would have to be high.
There's the whole Shaggy and Scooby were stoners thing, because the Mystery Machine belonged to Shaggy, yet he never drove it. It was always Fred. Obviously, Shaggy knew he was under the influence.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, we could legalize all the drugs. We just need people to use their drugs responsibly. Scooby-Doo's a prime example. Not only was it used responsibly, but they were solving crimes too. I mean, come on.
And I suppose being absolutely toasted would have been very helpful for solving crimes, because you tend to think outside of the box anyway.
Yeah, but not if it's a box of Scooby snacks. Then you're thinking inside the box.
Well, yeah, but not for long. I mean, did you see the way those two ate?
Well, yeah. I mean, granted, I tend to eat like that without the marijuana.
I mean, I'm surprised Shaggy and Scooby didn't have permanent heartburn.
Gunny writes Shaggy was DEA. Oh, yeah. I can see that. Shaggy is a drug enforcement agency. Agent. That would be brilliant. Discovers that Fred was into child porn or something.
Well, it certainly explain the neckwear.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think even then people stopped wearing ascots before Fred was wearing one.
It was probably just easy to draw because...
Well, yeah, who wants to draw a neck?
Exactly.
I mean, when it comes to drawing the human body, it's not like the neck is the first place someone goes. Usually it's tits, ass, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Fred had no neck. Vilma had no neck. There was only really... Did Daphne have a neck, or did she have something around her neck as well?
A noose eventually, I bet. I think she hung herself.
Erotic asphyxiation.
Because she was quite perturbed to find out that, just like the Marianne and Ginger situation, more people were into the nerdy chick than they were into the cheerleader.
Well, yeah, because the nerdy chick doesn't get laid often, so when she does, she goes all out.
Well, yeah, everyone knew that the nerdy chick was just a fucking demon in the sack.
Hasn't social justice got a hold of Scooby-Doo now, though, and Velma and Daphne are now gay, and so is Fred?
Know. I have no idea. I don't want to know.
I
don't want to watch modern Scooby-Doo.
I always had a suspicion Fred was gay, actually.
Well, you see, he did walk like he had something up his ass. Evil Gunny says Fred was a tranny. Maybe Fred and Daphne traded places. Fred was a tranny, Daphne was a trap. Turns out Daphne was Shaggy's little brother.
Oh, if anybody...
And Fred had a fetish.
God, if anybody was a trap, it would have been Velma. Because once she got somebody, that would be them in the closet, shackled to the wall. How else would she know so much about crime?
I mean, it's a wonder that Scooby got out as much as he did. Okay, this was a conversation on cartoons, and it's gone weird.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I
mean, it's not like that's unusual for us anyway.
Well, at least we started out with a bang. It's all downhill from here, folks.
Pretty much. Well, it's the same thing with cartoons, isn't it? They started off okay. Then they kind of had a little dip where they stopped doing real animation. They started doing still things that they could just zip across the screen. Like if you look at the old Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America cartoons from the 60s.
Yeah.
They weren't very good. But then we had another boost in the quality throughout the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And then it's been downhill pretty much since then, I would say.
Well, it got to a point where animation could be computerized and people weren't doing them frame by frame anymore.
Right. Except for, I think Batman the animated series was still frame by frame.
Oh, there was still some that
I'm gonna wait till you finish that sentence.
Fred was a Chani and Daphne was a black midget hermaphrodite.
Leave it to Gunny.
I ain't even gonna go there. But there was still, even during when computers really took over with the animation process, there were still some studios that were still doing it frame by frame.
Oh yes.
Although those
go on.
Those do seem to be slowly dying out, especially as most of the places that do animation now use the same software I've got.
Yeah.
For example, Rick and Morty is done with the same software I use.
But I got to say though that Batman the animated series was unique in that everything they did was whether it was done with a computer or by physical means, They did it on a black background. And
Yeah.
as someone who took up oil painting for a couple of minutes in my life, I know that stuff done on a black background makes the colors pop in a far more interesting way.
Black backgrounds always do. They make everything so much more vivid when you put any other color on it.
Yes, that's one of the reasons that Batman the Animated Series was so unique. But anyhow, it's what I was getting at is cartoons used to have a story. They used to have a point. They used to be a little bit preachy, but they weren't crazy preachy. You know, I mean, sometimes it was the social engineering kind of preachy, but other times it was like, hey, don't set your house on fire.
Well, He-Man used to be very much like that. There was every story had a moral to it, which was usually man-at-arms at the end. And there was a wonderful moral to today's story. I didn't watch it for the morals, but it was the only way that it was the only way that the network could sell the concept of a potentially violent cartoon. Because I mean, He-Man was constantly knocking people, flying all over the place. So yeah, violence. G.I. Joe, well, yeah, violence. And it was it was kind of like the concession they had to make to even get it on the air.
Right. The problem now is that it's gone entirely preachy, and they've gone from good writing to simply being loud. The characters they're not funny anymore, they're just loud. They're obnoxious. They've all got one characteristic, and it's obnoxious.
Yeah, the thing that immediately springs to mind is American Dad. I mean, I do like Seth MacFarlane. I thought Family Guy was really funny in its early runs. He kind of gave up the ghost on it at one point though, and the quality's gone downhill. But American Dad, everybody shouts.
Yes, I just can't. I can't take that. I can handle it, but damn it! Oh my god! I love having a cough. I love it even more when I'm mid-thought and the cough won't go away. Now it's like they're all loud. If it's one character, you know, that's what that character is. You know, there's a counterbalance with these other characters, but now it's just. Ugh. Oh, and the other thing I hate is everything has to have a song. I stepped on Lego in the dead of night. You know, fuck you. Not every incident in life requires a song. Let's see. Gunny wants to know, man, how the fuck did you guys find the time to watch that much TV? 30% of the time, I may know what the fuck show you're on about. Well,
I was young back then.
Yeah.
Doing the whole Saturday morning cartoon thing.
No, I was young and raised by parents who were doing rather well at the time. You know, I didn't necessarily have to go out and do other things. Strangely, I did go out and do other things, but I still always had time to catch like a 1 hour block of something after school, and a few hours on Saturday morning. But the rest of the time, I'm like outside playing ditch, playing a who's gonna get down the neighbor girl's shirt first, stuff like that. And fucking man, we used to ride our bikes everywhere too, man. Now you can't. Now it's a little rare to see people out just riding their fucking bike everywhere. Kind of sad.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was just sort of even go out and play just being when the street lights are on. These days, nobody lets their kids out because they're afraid that there's a pedophile behind every lamppost.
Yeah, and there's not. And there's a reverse of that as well, because I won't interact with children if I can avoid it. Because I just know how the world works now. The second if you're out in the world, you say hello to someone, and it turns out that someone is under the age of 18, you got people showing up at your house demanding to know what you're on about. You know, fuck that.
Yeah, the problem is though that, I mean, as a guy, I don't know whether you've ever found this. The times that you're out, if you're walking down the street and a child waves at you because they're just being kids and happy to see everyone and innocent.
Yeah, there's a new person. Hi. You know, that's
do you even dare wave back?
I do.
For fear
I'm not
of
that paranoid.
For fear of, well, there got to be a point over here where you didn't even dare look at a child because somebody be accusing you of being a pedophile. There was even a spate of pediatricians being beaten up because it started with ped, and people are stupid.
God. Boone says, "Watch out for the subway people," and he may be right.
Which ones?
Especially if the subway people are going after the pediatricians.
Which ones? The sandwich makers?
Well, it's either the sandwich makers or the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Oh. Well, the underground dwellers are easy to take care of.
Just get a flashlight, get them in the eyes.
Yeah. Failing that, hit them with it. It's the sandwich makers that, because you never know what they're doing in that sandwich.
Let's see, Gunny writes, when I was young I had 3 channels by antenna, me too, which had to be moved to get every channel, 2 of which were CBC.
Oh, the Canadian Broadcasting Company. Well, when I was in Michigan we used to get NBC, which was by far the strongest. We used to get CBS, which was always staticky, and on a good day we could get ABC, and of course PBS, which nobody ever watched.
Nope.
And then we got cable, and oh my god, it was just sort of like there was everything in the world.
And it was clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, growing up, that's one of the things that kids miss today, and it's one of the reasons entertainment is shit, is because the market is entirely saturated.
Oh yeah, there's far too much of it.
You know, there used to be much more competition. Stuff had to rise above the slag to get to be the cream, you know?
Well, the same thing happened over here in the UK. I've kind of watched it happen twice. The advent of cable in the US when I was really young, and then in the UK we had BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, and Channel 4 had just started broadcasting when I moved over here. Then we eventually got Channel 5, which was your static filled, not everybody could get it thing. And then we had the whole satellite revolution when there was 87 channels of shit on the TV to choose from, and quality just went right down.
Yeah, you've got over 100 channels and nothing's on because there's nothing worth watching.
Yeah.
Especially early on, because there's the infomercials would take up a lot of airspace just so that there would be something on. And you know then the 24-hour news cycle started too. With that, you know, that was one of the things that came with cable television. And what a disaster that's been. Talking to you, CNN.
Oh god, the constant news cycle is... It's no wonder we've got so much fake news, because they want to broadcast 24/7. And, well, it's not actually a 24/7 broadcast, it's 16 hours and then repeat.
Yeah.
But they've still got 16 hours to fill.
Yeah, and somewhere at little blocks in those 16 hours, or rather in the 24-hour cycle, they have their commentary shows as well. You know, like Rachel Madcow and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity and all them. God, don't even get me started on The View.
Oh, we have a version of The View over here. It's called Loose Women.
Hey, fuckwad. Yeah, Loose Women is... Actually, I've seen Brian Blessed on Loose Women, and he seems to have fun with it. But he's Brian Blessed. You know, you put him in a room full of women, and it doesn't matter who they are or what their politics are, they're going to melt. Because it's Brian Blessed. You know, the guy's what, 75, 76, something like that now.
Is he
And they're
really that
starting to
old?
melt over him.
Is he
Yeah.
real? He does not look it.
He's basically the hyperactive grandfather who can still kick your ass. By the way,
Oh yeah, the old school grandpa who kept fitting in shape, and you just did not piss off because otherwise you. He always had a walking stick, but never used it. I'm sure he carried it just
yeah,
to
he wasn't
smack
using it for
people
walk.
with.
Yeah, he used, back in the days when you'd smack a stranger's kid in the store with a stick because they were acting out of line. I don't know if that was really a thing, but God, I wish it was. I wish it was a thing now. Now you got these people now. They let their kids fucking lie on the floor in the supermarket, just screaming their heads off, and they just stand there, waiting until the kid runs out of energy. I'd take the kid out of the store if it was mine. Take the kid out of the store. We'd sit out in the parking lot till the kid calmed down.
Oh yeah. These days they just now there, little Timmy. Don't lie on the floor kicking and screaming, and the parent they just don't have the authority to deal with kids these days because it's been neutered from them.
Yeah. Well, the state has neutered that. I've gone over that before on other shows.
Oh yeah.
But there's also too many people who think having a kid means they're grown up.
No, definitely not. I mean,
no,
the person whose place I was living in before is a prime example of that.
You can spot these people too. It's usually it's usually women for one thing.
Yep.
Because I don't think guys have that kind of thought process in general.
I've tended to notice that with guys, as soon as a child comes into the world, there's just kind of a line in the sand drawn. They cross over it, and it's all like childhood done. Time to do the right thing. Whereas with women, they just seem to believe they can go on as they always were.
Yes. It certainly seems that way. I mean, let's face it, you can spot these women because they're, like I said, they're the ones hovering over the kid who's having a fit on the floor in the supermarket. They're the women who are always trying to use their children to get their way. I have children in the car, you need to go faster because my kids are waiting. Fuck you. Let's see, Fuckwad writes, your grandfather didn't have a walking stick, Eric Orr, it was a pimp cane. Your grandfather was a pimp. Quite possibly. And these women also have that I need to speak to the manager haircut.
Yeah.
They're basically adult children. They think because they squeezed some manner of life form out of their crotch hole that it's either some sort of an indicator that they're adults now, that they need to be respected. They think it comes automatically, and it doesn't.
Oh no.
Especially for parents, respect is earned, not given. Let's see. Evil Gunny. God damn it. 15, I was working in camp 14 to 16 hours a day, 28 days in, 7 days out. Spring, summer, fall, winter, commercial fishing, 24/7. Every chance you got. Rig, pig, more camp hours. Never really into TV. Some people aren't into TV. I'm not into TV that much now. I've got a couple of shows I watch to sate curiosity.
I've got a couple as well, apart from occasionally if there's nothing to do late at night I will binge watch something on Netflix, but other than that I haven't had an active TV in about 8 years now.
Actually, most of the if you could call it watching TV these days, because I'm really not, I watch it online. It's a minor distinction, I'll admit. But I'll do the same thing. I'll binge watch something, but it's not to watch it as much as it is to have something going on to keep my brain active while I'm trying to sleep. I use it to inoculate or to sedate my brain.
Sometimes, but then sometimes I get something that I actually get interested in.
On
I mean,
occasion, yeah. I mean, I got interested in the show House.
oh yeah, House I binge watched the hell out of.
But
Breaking
mainly
Bad was another one.
well, I mainly watched House because the main character was an asshole, and I could relate.
Oh, Hugh
You know,
Laurie.
what? Yeah.
Get on the. Oh, don't get me on the whole Hugh Laurie kick. I remember watching him when he was the double act with Stephen Fry.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I really didn't like him at all then.
Well, he seems like a bit of a drip, doesn't he?
I actually didn't like either of them at that time. But after they broke up and went their separate ways, Stephen Fry turned into somebody absolutely amazing as far as the way that he conducted himself and the things that he was learning about. And then Hugh Laurie went off, and the next thing I saw, he was in like Stuart Little.
Stuart Little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's just weird.
And then it's like, oh, it's nice to see somebody who I didn't really like doing so well for themselves and actually being mildly entertaining doing it. And then House came along. And it's like, whoa, I like this.
Yeah. Well, House was fun. You know, it's a thing that they keep taking out of entertainment. I mean, because the character was aggressive, and he was a dick.
But he was never too much of a dick, was he? There was always
No.
there was always kind of like a
a
little bit of a fun kick to the end of the. Probably the best way to describe it is, yeah, he was a total dick, but he had a fun foreskin to it.
Yeah.
That's just a horrible mental image.
Yeah, it is. It's a terrible analogy. I'm going to say this one. It probably leaves a bad taste in someone's mouth. But
ask Wolfie, he'll know. Oh, Wolfie's gone. We can't ask.
well, yeah, but you know, he's a wolf. He can reach. Anyway, it was fun to see that character. We're not going to see that kind of character anymore. Not on a real show. I mean, we're going to get cheap knockoffs who are softened and made to use politically correct language, but it won't be the same. Oh, Wolfie's back. You can ask him now, Eric. Or
I forgot what I'd said.
it was something about he can reach.
And something about foreskins.
Yeah.
Wolfie, can you reach your own foreskin? Was that it? I don't think it was, but I still want to know. But there's a part of me that doesn't.
There's a part of me that I call the whole me that just doesn't care. Wolfie could keep his foreskin to himself as far as I'm concerned. Maybe when he's done with it, he could wear it as a funny hat. I don't know. But, you know, that's every time I see a guy in a turtleneck, I do think, why are you dressed as a cock with a foreskin? What's the matter with you? Anyway. What was I talking about now? Oh, yeah, we're not going to get that kind of thing anymore. Unless it's dipped in political correctness first. It's just boring. You know, we're going to have the imitation. We're not going to have dicks on TV. We're going to have dildos. How's that? That's about the best analogy I can. I don't care, Wolfie. Wolfie wants you to know that he's circumcised, no for skin, so no, can't reach it. Great. Now I gotta live with that information. You know, that's the kind of stupid shit I'll remember. But if I ever have to defuse a bomb, I'll forget everything I need to know at that point. I'll be there in front of a bomb going, Wolfie's circumcised.
Was it red wire or green wire? I don't know, but Wolfie's circumcised.
And I'll be sub there going, foreskin! Right before I explode.
Oh, no.
My last word will be foreskin. That's fucked up. Now I gotta die. You could say it this way: I gotta die with foreskin on my lips.
Have we thought it had gone dark before?
Sometimes you just can't win. Now, speaking of can't win.
Fenris is offering a stunt cock.
Oh God, stunt cock. God, that sounds like a bad 80s TV show.
Hillsdale brand stunt cocks for when you wouldn't touch it with somebody else's.
Hillsdale brand stunt cock because you wouldn't fuck Chelsea with Hillary's dick.
I can't do the voice. I wish I could do the voice, but
it's just raise your register a bit and adopt the personality.
well, I also do have the problem that I can't go full volume anyway.
Oh, that's true.
And to do something like that, you do need to be kind of at full throat. Oh God, we're back to cocks again.
Yeah. Oh God. If we're gonna talk about full throat, I want a few women in the chat.
Yeah, where's Panini?
And Lou. Panini and Lou. That sounds like a buddy cop TV show, doesn't it?
Panini and Lou, mopeds and Moosecow.
Next time on Panini and Lou. Oh, I've gone overboard. So what you're saying is, yeah, Jordan Peterson. Let's see, fuckwad. That's why you have Lopez disarm the bomb. That's a good point.
Yeah,
But still, do I want?
send Lopez.
Let's see. So now, thanks to fuckwad, I now have a choice of having either foreskin or Lopez on my lips when I die. This is just not getting any better. Maybe if Lopez has a sister, it could be okay. I don't know. Let's see.
Still, Lopez is better than anal sphincter.
That's true. I don't want that on my lips at all. Wolfie says he would wake Kitten, but she's in a different state. What, is she in like a state of disrepair or
State of disarray. State of non-conformity.
ooh, maybe.
A state of the painters are in, so you get something launched at your head.
What? No, don't explain it.
No, probably best not to.
I'll live with the mystery. Then we got that Jordan Peterson interview, don't we? God, that was good.
That was amazeballs.
That was just absolutely fantastic.
Now we now understand why Wolfie has no foreskin. He's gone to Wisconsin. He's in Wisconsin. Oh, they're dropping off or collecting some cheese.
Oh well. Do you disarm bombs by wire color? Old wives' tale, mass-produced mines, etc. Yes. Singularly produced bombs? No. Fast. Bad way to get yourself killed. Well, yeah, especially if I'm Oh, I've got you. Do not. Okay. Yeah, especially if if all I'm stuck with is Wolfie circumcision in my head when it comes time to disarm the fucking thing. This is why my specialty is not EOD. Oh, that, and I've never been military, so that probably takes a little bit of that sentence that I can't finish because I lost track of my thoughts.
You do not disarm bombs by wire colors. Old wives' tale, mass-produced mines, etc. Yeah, singularly produced bombs. No. Fast, right. Bad way to get you. Yeah, I'd just use all black wires just to fuck up the bomb squad.
Hey, Zero Unknown, join us. He called one of us a hoe. I think it was me.
Yeah, because I don't charge.
What?
It must be you, because I don't charge.
I do group discounts. Yeah, get a squad of cheerleaders in here and let's see what happens. Got the best 2 minutes of their lives right here. What if they only have one roll of wire? Yeah, really, it's like you're I don't want to say run of the mill, but like your not what is it? Like your random bomber is going to be sitting in their workbench or at their workbench in their, like in their garage or their basement, working on their bomb, going, shit, I'm out of blue wire. Gotta head to Radio Shack. This screws up my whole timetable. I knew I should have went earlier. Fuck no, I used to say, fuck, I'll just solder some red wire in, we'll be fine. God help you if it's the yellow wire with the black line through it. Then you don't know what to believe.
Oh, great. Now we got both chats, and fuckwad's appeared in mine, which I hadn't realised because I thought he was Fenris. Now we got both chats talking about bomb dispersal techniques.
Yeah.
This is like really weird. We're having a cross-screen argument going on while we just bullshit our way through it.
Yeah. It takes the onus off us to be creative.
Yeah, indeed. We could just comment on the chat. Easy show.
Let's see. Fenris says, easiest way to take out a depth charge is to swim up to it and place a satchel charge on it. Gunny says, far more frightening are armed penguins. Yes, they are.
This, well, speaking of what Fenris said there, this is why I'm not so quick to condemn the fat acceptance movement. Because we can always get the fatties and push them out to sea and they'll take out the mines and depth charges.
I don't know, fat floats. How can something that floats take out a depth charge?
Well, it depends how much water it disperses, but definitely mines.
I mean, it certainly indicates that fat people have a proclivity for being shallow.
Or being in the shallow, no matter where they are.
I don't know. I'm sort of going in a weird stream of consciousness thing now.
Evil
But yeah,
Gunny,
the
far
Jordan
more...
Peterson debate. Oh wait, far more frightening or armed penguins?
Is that a shot at Merlin?
Oh yes. Because Merlin is an armed penguin.
There you go, Merlin. You got a shout out on our show.
Yep, now you can say Moosecow with the rest of them. Lopez! That was just to cleanse my palate.
Anyway, Jordan Peterson, that was glorious.
God, that debate was beautiful. That interview, that wasn't even a debate. Because she wasn't bringing salient points. What's her name? Kathy Newman?
Yeah.
Because, man, she just refused to accept anything he said. It was an absolute refusal. She kept trying to steer anything he said into a direction that is almost exclusively the opposite of what he had said.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Or basically trying to make it so that he was parroting the narrative that she wanted to push.
Right. She wanted him to be a villain, and he was not letting it happen. It was fantastic. God, that was beautiful, especially the part where he pins her down. And when he points out to her that she's using free speech to, oh boy, fuckwad, you're going right the same route that Gunny has gone with the how can the penguin shoot the gun. But anyway, when Jordan Peterson pointed out to her, because her position is using free speech if it insults, or rather if it offends the trans people, it's wrong to use free speech.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson points out that she's using free speech to interrogate his ideas
And taking the risk of offending him in the process.
and taking the risk of offending Peterson in the process. And she had nowhere to go with that.
Absolutely nowhere.
And I mean, he even said that she was doing the right thing by doing so. More power to you, he said.
Yeah.
And she has nowhere to go from there.
No, she actually went silent for... I didn't actually time it, but it had to have been a good 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well, she didn't really go silent. She went silent for part of it, but she stammered a bit too, trying to wrap her head around how... She tried to wrap her head around the false equivalency that she was laying out. And it was just fucking hilarious and beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually agree with him. She's right to interrogate his position. You know, that's what intellectuals do. They interrogate a position. It's not personal, although she tried to make it personal.
I mean, even if you agree with it, even if you agree with the position, it always does well to interrogate it anyway.
You need to be around people who don't agree with you, because your ideas cannot grow and become strong if they are not challenged.
No, exactly.
Ideas have to be challenged, because that's how you get to things.
And it's how you... Even a good idea will have poor elements to it. And those poor elements will be weeded out, refined, improved, and maybe made into something useful via scrutiny and interrogation.
Exactly. You know, I hate to keep going back to the Second Amendment, but it's one of my best examples. You know, I used to fall on one side or the other when it came to, one side always falls on the well-regulated side, and another side always falls on the shall not be infringed side. And for a long time, I fell on one side of that argument until I realized that there's a piece right in the middle of the Second Amendment that speaks about maintaining the security of a free state.
Yeah.
You know, it's because I interrogated the Second Amendment that I began to realize that it's not that both of these sides are superfluous, because they're not speaking about what is really important, and that is maintaining the security of a free state.
Just going off on kind of a side tangent. You're well known for trotting out the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to substantiate arguments or whatnot.
Yes.
I'm actually kind of curious, because I don't remember learning this when I was at school. Do we have any idea how long from the time that they decided, right, we need to have a Constitution and a Bill of Rights, to the time that it was actually signed and made legitimate? Do we have any idea how long it take them to fight all this stuff out and come up with what works?
I'm not sure. But we know that the Declaration was written and delivered in 1776.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what brought about the War of Independence.
Yeah.
So from 1776 to 1783 is 7 years. I'm assuming that they may have started with, you know, the core ideas for what they want for a Constitution and a Bill of Rights and all that good stuff prior to 1776. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, I would have thought so, because it would have started with an idea, and then there would have been a whole bunch of them just arguing it out and refining it down and taking ideas, and the ones that had merit stayed, and the ones that fell apart under scrutiny fell to the wayside, or were refined into something that worked.
Don't forget that the 13 colonies, you know, these people had to travel or rely on messengers to exchange ideas.
Yeah.
You know, it took a hell of a lot more effort to do than it would now.
Oh, definitely. I honestly don't think that now that anything like that could be created anymore.
No, probably not, because Well, let's say if someone tried to break away from the United States to do
California, we're
that,
looking at you.
we're hoping that parts of California do in fact break away from the United States, and New York for that matter. But anyhow, even if they tried to break away, it wouldn't be a success. They just couldn't do it. I mean, there's so much interconnectivity.
Yeah.
You know, when Trump was elected in California, oh well, California should secede from the union. Yeah, go ahead, just try it. Try to get out of the union when you take all that water from the Colorado River. Try to get out of the union when most of your electricity is generated out of state.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I would have been one of the.
We will cut you off.
I would have been one of those that was taking bets on how long they'd be before they came. Can we come back?
Right. They would either come crawling back like a bunch of little babies, or they would be whining like a bunch of little babies that America's oppressing us.
I think what probably would have happened is they'd have gone bankrupt like Venezuela and then been invaded and reintegrated.
Maybe. There's a very good chance they're being invaded by Mexico.
I say invaded. It wouldn't exactly be an invasion. It'd just be reabsorbed.
Let's see. I got two things coming up here. I can hardly read the one that Fuckwad wrote, so you take that one, and I'll take what Gunny's got going here.
1776 and 1788, the Articles of Confederation were in between.
12 years then. No, I was wrong. Not 1783. 1787 is, I believe, when the Constitution was ratified. I don't know where I got 1783. Anyway, Gunny writes, feminist SJW LGBTQI XXXXWTFE can no longer prosecute crimes with DNA. Take rape, they say it's male DNA, but the suspect says, can't be me, I identify as a woman. You homophobic, sexist, cisgendered Nazi.
Yeah,
let's actually, I want to see that test case happen. Because that's what that would be. That would be a test case.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like when Smugglypuff got arrested.
Oh,
there was all of this question as whether she was going to stand trial as a male, which was what she identified as, or as a female, because females get lesser sentences. And guess which one Smugglypuff stood as?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Oh, I'm a boy. But suddenly, when the full force of the law comes down, but I'm just a girl. Bill Burr did a comedy routine where he was talking about this. You can have the meanest, shortest haired, fucking raging feminist in the world, but the second the house catches on fire, all of a sudden she'll take that super short ass hair, do little pigtails. I'm just a girl. I want to jump rope and have pigtails. Bullshit. That's what I mean. These Smugglypuff, that whole thing right there is actually a good example of how people are confusing gender with a fashion statement.
Yeah. Fuckwad said 1788 was when it went into effect after New Hampshire was the 9th state to ratify it.
Okay.
Fucking
really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, gotta fucking live with that. It's like living with Foghorn Leghorn.
I figure maybe he saw his dick for the first time in 3 years.
It's been a lot longer than 3 years. Well, not without the aid of a mirror, anyway.
Well, obviously. But yeah, that's what it is. The second, they're all well and good to bounce around saying how they're, everyone's equal until they see an advantage to being oppressed. That's their ideology.
Equality.
Fucking decades ago, at the same time as this happened when in America when Justice Clarence Thomas was being interrogated to take on a position on the Supreme Court. And he was accused of sexual harassment by Anita Hill. And Rush Limbaugh quite rightly pointed out, because this was another thing happening at the time, was there was a big whatchamado about the women in combat roles in the military at the time. And, you know, Rush Limbaugh goes on the Phil Donahue show, and you can actually catch this on YouTube if you look it up.
Yeah.
Where the feminists are we're marching around, oh, we're ready to go into combat, we're ready to fly the fighter jets, we're ready to do all this stuff. But, you know, the instant one little thing happens, they start crying sexual harassment. You know, well, okay, pick a side. You know, which one of these characters are you going to be?
We want to be the character that controls everything but takes no responsibility.
Yeah, that's exactly. You know, nothing's changed since then.
Yeah.
Seriously, nothing's changed. They want to control everything and have no responsibility for anything. It's insane. You know, and it's that kind of. It's kind of what Peterson said in that interview, actually. You know, it's that attitude that prevents them from being successful in business. They don't want to be held accountable for their actions. When the business fails, they want to blame someone else.
Yeah, and there's also the element of they want to be liked by everybody, whereas to be the head of a Fortune 500 company, you've got more people that hate you than like you.
Yeah.
Well, hate is probably too strong a word, but dislike you.
No, it's not. I don't think hate's too strong a word.
Well, there's some people whose companies you've driven out of the market just because your product's been better or whatnot, who are going to seriously dislike you, and there may be one or two of them that actually do hate you.
Oh, I'm talking about the people that work for them, who work with them and work for them. Trust me, they hate the people they work for.
Yeah, that's usually the case. They hate them, but they've also got a lot of respect for them as well.
Right.
Which is a really weird dynamic, but it does exist.
Yes, and it gets the job done.
Yeah, I can't stand the guy, but damn, he's good at his job.
Right. And you know why you don't? This is my thing. You know, I don't care. I don't care what my feelings towards someone are if they're making my business successful. You know, that's how I think about it. Business is a separate thing. It's got to come first. What I feel doesn't matter. I would say that in general that could be a typical male point of view. Women, on the other hand, and a typical in general point of view that women have is a bit different.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the way he spoke to that guy. It made me mad. I don't like him. Let's fire him. You know, that's kind of conniving and sniveling attitude. It's just, it doesn't work in business. It never will. You know, just like Peterson said, there are certain behaviors that predict success in business. And a lot of the typical traits that women display are not those traits.
No, very not.
It's not a condemnation of women, and it's not a condemnation of business. It's recognizing what in general happens.
Oh yeah.
It's recognition of the facts.
I mean, women generally don't tend to be the cutthroat sort. Women generally don't tend to win at all costs. Women generally will try to make peace rather than win at all costs.
Generally speaking, yes.
Which there is a definite market for people who are going to go in there and try and make peace, but business really isn't one of them.
When it comes to the whole pay gap and all that stuff, yeah, there's a reason for it. It's because individuals are judged as individuals. They're allowed to make decisions as individuals.
Yeah.
It's because of freedom. Let me see if I can find it. I once saw a quote someone wrote, and it just struck me as being absolutely dead on. It was actually a MGTOW that wrote it, so it's not as
Actually, Callie, Sargon brought that particular point up in his video on the Jordan Peterson interview. He said there was actually a television channel that a woman started, and she staffed it completely with women. It was either a television channel or it was a business.
Well, it was a business.
And it basically tore itself apart because of all of the bitching and catfighting.
Yep.
Because women just cannot work with each other. I mean, a guy can dislike another guy, but he will still work with him for a greater goal. A woman won't.
Yes. Is that Kelly? Yes, it is. Hi, Kelly.
Moosecow. No, it doesn't work, does it?
Not quite. And Gunny points out women throw like girls. Which I think is an interesting summation, if I do say so myself. This one MGTOW wrote, and mind you, the men going their own way, the ones who treat that idea like it's a religion, for them, this kind of a statement is absolute. It's not absolute for me, but I do see some truth in it. This person wrote, "There is one law of the universe. Women ruin everything men like and redirect the money to themselves." I would say that's more true of the bored housewife type than it is for women in general.
Perhaps, yeah.
I mean, just think about it. You know, when I see it quite often when a guy is starting to get some success, and he's married, and he's got what amounts to a bored housewife. You know, maybe she's got a part-time job.
Yeah.
But you know, he starts experiencing some success. Suddenly, she can quit her job,
and immediately does so.
Yeah. You know, never mind whether or not there are kids in the picture. Oh, let's see. Callie writes, "Don't forget, a woman will hit and hit and hit a man, and he'll take it before he hits back, just so she can whinge and screech about how he hit a woman." Yep. That's a pretty common occurrence as well. Hey, Patriarch of the Sith, right on. 33 this morning. Holy crap. What's 33? You get 33 kicks in the nuts? What do you got there?
Or is it your birthday? Happy birthday.
No, that could be. Yeah. But there is a kernel of truth in that MGTOW point of view. I mean, I don't subscribe to it as a religion or as a way of life or anything. It just I'm just
I will give MGTOW one thing.
Degrees.
I will give MGTOW one thing. It is based on certain truths that just can't be denied. They just kind of take all that, run with it, and go completely off the field.
Oh, they really do. You know, they treat it like it's some kind of a like it's a war that has to be won, and that's not really the case. Because it isn't. It's a case where people just need to be treated equally under law. That's all it is.
Well, there's that element, and there's an element of guys just have to be willing to say, no, I'm not putting up with your shit.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to next. Actually, there's that social element.
Yeah.
Where you know, we've all encountered the henpecked husband.
Oh God, yeah.
Who do you blame for that? The wife or the husband?
The husband.
Me too.
Because he never once stood up and went, no, shut up.
Exactly. And you know, you don't have to go fucking driving a nail through a board and smacking someone with it, though that in some circumstances has its appeal. All you have to do, this works with children and dogs as well. All you have to do is have the voice. You just have to be able to say no.
Kali, MGTOW is not a type of sexuality. And Patriarch of the Sith, MGTOW is most definitely a reaction to feminism, same as the men's rights movement, really.
Yeah, but at least the men's rights movement and MGTOW have a demonstrable basis in fact, as far as things that are happening right now.
Yeah, if I had to choose one of them to ascribe to and identify myself as, I wouldn't pick either, but if I had to pick one, I'd go with the men's rights activist rather than a MGTOW, because the men's rights activists, they're more interested in balance than actually fighting a war.
Supremacy.
Yeah.
Right. That's just it. Feminists are interested in supremacy. The MGTOW are interested in supremacy. And the MRA, like you said, seem more interested in addressing concerns that exist.
Because feminism gradually swung the pendulum a little bit too far in one direction. All the MRA is trying to do is bring it back to the center and keep it there.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, even the MRAs have their their whack job. I mean, every group's got their whack jobs.
Oh yeah, but if I had to pick one of the two, I'd definitely go MRA because it seems more grounded.
Yes. Make a vibrator out of a taser.
Callie, you up for product testing?
No, that was actually Gunny wrote that. Make a vibrator out of a taser.
Yeah, I know. I just asked Callie if she's up for product testing.
Oh, okay, I'm with you now.
Hillsdale brand sparkly vibrators.
Now, see, MGTOW and feminism have that thing in common, where they both have the zealotry of a religious extreme, and it's annoying because when you have that level of zealotry, you can't. There's no interrogation of ideas to get to the truth of the matter, because people stop caring about the truth and only care about what they have to say.
Yeah.
Oh, Patriarch of the Sith brings up a good point. Doesn't seem that the MRAs have any teeth, however, though. I'm reading it like I would say it for some reason. It's like they're begging for their rights. Yeah, it is. And and let's face it, the only way men are going to be treated equally under law, there's a couple of ways actually. The one that the MRAs seem to be trying is to do so on a case-by-case basis until there's enough precedent set up where it's just established, where it's got that sort of temporal, not velocity. What's the other word? Not velocity. Not wake. It's got a.
I'm not sure.
I can't think of the word.
I'm not sure. I'm honestly
momentum. Where it's got the temporal momentum to be a more balanced system. And when something attains that momentum, all you have to do is keep it level. Right now, there's an obvious tip. Gunny writes, I was MGTOW/men's rights 20 years before there were groups. Or before their groups were. Yeah, a lot of people were.
A
lot of people saw it coming.
That reminds me of an argument that I once saw on YouTube. I can't remember which one it was. But one of the MGTOWs was going, well, you can't have been MGTOW before MGTOW was a thing, because before MGTOW was a thing, there were no MGTOW. No, it's just an idea that somebody put a name on. Deal with it.
Yep. Gunny also writes, when it comes to the henpecked husband, he blames the henpecked husband's henpecked father.
We don't necessarily know that's true, though.
Critical mass.
I mean, there's a pretty good chance that the henpecked husband's father was one of those guys who worked 80 hours a week, and he got brought up by the mother. and told that you must give women everything.
Well, yeah, that's just as much a fatherless household as a. Oh, Callie switched channels on you. She's gone quite mad. No, the father who's working. Oh yeah. The father who is gone all the time because he's at work is going to have the same net effect, I think, as the father who's not there at all.
Yeah.
Because you're working 80 hours a week, man. You're shit. You're not going to be in your kid's life because you won't have the time.
No, I mean, I remember when I was growing up, it was. I mean, I had a good relationship with my father, but there was. Where we lived up in Michigan, it's all corn and wheat and beans and stuff like that. And he used to work at one of the grain elevators. And during harvest season, never saw him for like 3 months because that was when he made all his money with all the overtime and everything else that would take us through the rest of the year. So it was sort of like there'd come a point in the year where it was just me and my mother. Because the men, they just kind of tend to do the work that needs to be done, don't complain about it, don't just grab the money while they can.
Yeah.
And a lot of families are like that. It's just the sheltered ones off in California and New York who work in the more 9-to-5 type industries like banking and retail and stuff like that. They don't understand that there are people who, for some people, their job isn't 9 to 5.
Right.
They just haven't got the awareness of how anything in any other part of the country works.
Let's see if I can find this one. There's that horse shit about sunsets again. I don't want to read that one. God damn it, where'd it go? I hate Facebook. I really do. It's completely disorganized.
Facebook, see it once and then never again.
Yeah. Because it's a quote that is interesting that I think, oh, fuck off, Facebook. You can eat me. Die in a fire. I gotta say this. Patriarch of the Sith writes that he is BYMMCNLM, which stands for Bitch, You Made Me Come, Now Leave.
Oh, is he not adding DFTCBOYW? Oh. Don't forget to make breakfast on your way out.
Ha! Yeah, that works too.
I had to actually figure that one out. That was painful.
Oh, free-range kids. I know what you mean, Gunny, because both my parents worked like 60-plus hours a week. And I was the youngest of 5 kids, and by the time it became interesting in my life, most of my older siblings were gone. Off to, go live their own lives. And I'm left, I'm just left to do whatever I can do.
Now you come to mention it, I seem to recall this having been a problem back in the late 70s and early 80s as well, when the whole concept of latchkey kids was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Both parents were having to go out to work and everybody was complaining because women had to go out to work. Yeah, but then also complain about the ones who weren't because it was letting the side down.
Well, see, that's just it. My parents worked their asses off to have a nice house and everything. It's a miracle I didn't set it on fire. But that's what it was like then. I'd go to school well after my parents went to work, so I was responsible to do what it takes to get to school. And then once I got home, it was hours and hours before they got home. So I was left to my own devices. Still got decent grades. But I went out and did whatever I wanted too. Sometimes it got me into trouble.
Yeah, but if you got into trouble when you were a kid, you got into trouble and you face the consequences of what you'd done.
Yes.
Whereas kids get into trouble these days, it's usually over stuff that people would have just laughed off in when I was younger, and the parent immediately comes wading in to sort it all out for them.
Yep.
I mean, personal responsibility is something that should be taught young. So it's
Well, yeah, I agree.
always a thing instead of it's part of the general problem that I've been watching happen around me, especially with having kids of my own, is that they're actively encouraged not to take responsibility for anything that they do.
Yep.
They're actively encouraged that if anything goes wrong, come and get a teacher, they will sort it out for you, and they never do.
Oh, God, no.
Because the teacher's got to be fair on everyone, and the only way to be fair on everyone is to let everyone get away with it.
Or to punish everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it's funny, you know, because you could figure out whose parents were home, who had a parent at home all the time and who didn't in school by how a kid would react to getting caught doing something they shouldn't be doing.
Oh, yeah.
If I were caught, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you got
But,
me.
then there's the other kid who would get caught red-handed, mind you. The kid's hand is in the girl's shirt in the desk next to him, and he gets called on it by the teacher, and the kid will deny it. Everyone saw you doing it, and you're denying it. You fucking moron.
Yeah. Callie's
Now you just look like a little asshole.
Callie has
Now let's
just
switch again.
brought up a point.
Oh.
Callie can't decide what gender she is today.
No.
As long as I have video games, my mom could trust me home alone for hours on end, and that right there is a problem.
Yes, it is.
We've stopped actually looking after our kids and just stuck them in front of a screen to babysit and educate.
Yep.
And then we wonder why they turn into snowflakes, because that's what they're being programmed with from the TV, and maybe not so much video games at the moment, but they're trying to push that way. So the video games are constantly programming you as well.
Yeah. Well, why do you think the SJWs want to infest video games?
So that they can control the narrative that the video games...
Yeah, so they can use the video games to indoctrinate kids.
Yeah.
It's the same reason they want to infest the schools, to indoctrinate kids.
Well, they already have infested them, haven't they?
In fact, here's my challenge for Donald Trump for 2018. Fix the Federal Department of Education or disband it. In fact, disband it. Get rid of it. There's no constitutional authority. I dare you. Get rid of that shit.
Yeah, education seriously needs to be looked at again. And it's not just in the US, it's the same here in the UK.
And everything we're talking about here about the personal responsibility at a young age, Gunny points out quite rightly that it's called growing up. I mean, shit, when you're a kid and you come home to no parents and and you decide you're hungry and it's time to eat, you gonna just sit there and wait, or are you gonna get something to eat? I'll tell you what you're gonna do. You're gonna get something to eat, because that's a responsible thing to do. Because you have no choice but to be responsible.
Yeah.
Because there's no one to take care of you. I'm not saying that like there's no one to take care of you, be sad, feel pity. No, not like that. It's like you don't have a choice. It's just the way it is.
You need to learn to be self-sufficient. Because there's going to be a time in your life when you're going to need to be self-sufficient.
Yes, there is.
And it looks as though I may have to leave you to entertain the masses for a couple of minutes while I attend the porcelain throne.
Oh, well. I'll hug the white wishing well then.
Back in a moment.
Right on. That's what it is, though. You gotta we've stopped demonstrating to our kids how to be self-sufficient. We have to let them fall. We have to let them. Sometimes you got to let the kid put the thing in the light socket because that's the only way they're going to learn not to. Sometimes they do have to burn their hand on something because that's how you learn. Sometimes it requires a fall to learn how to get back up. You can't just be upright all the time. It doesn't work because then you never learn how to fall. That's the best part about falling is learning how to fall. So when you fall again, boom, there you are. You fell, you survived because you learned how to fall when you were a kid. So you get back up, you brush off your knees, you issue a nice loud holy shit or a fuck or something like that, and you go on about your day. Yeah, maybe you lose a little bit of blood. But this was back in the days when you could you were allowed to have a runny nose without being run to the fucking emergency room.
Sorry that so long.
No worries. Let's see, Gunny writes, we had a farm that pretty much took up my time. Dad bought us 3 boys' calves to raise, to eat, sell while he was in camp then. There you go. That's another example of learning how to be responsible for yourself. That's an example of parents teaching kids how to be responsible for themselves. You just don't see it anymore. Now a kid gets in trouble in school and gets the phone call home. Some parent comes rushing in, in a fucking tizzy because their little angel would never do such a thing. Well, maybe you don't know your kid, lady. Maybe you should get out from under the hairdryer and stop spending so much money on getting your fucking hooker nails done and spend some time with your fucking family.
Well, children are never the same at home as what they are anywhere else.
Exactly. And, to those fathers who spend all that time at work, probably just to get away from the family, well, you're going to have to grow up a little bit too and spend a little more time at home. I know it's not going to be pleasant, but you're going to have to do it. You got to be a part of those kids' lives. You got to take responsibility for the life that you created. Hiding out at work because you don't want to be around your wife, that's no solution. And of course, it seems like the only viable solution, considering how divorce laws work these days. I understand that. But, you either go in and you fix it or you go in and you end it. If it ain't working, it ain't working. Do something about it. Yeah, you might get a little screwed in the deal, but fight. Fight for what you've worked for. If you bought the house and she's living in it, don't leave the house if divorce comes up. Make her leave the house.
Yeah.
Because the second you leave the house, that's a concession. That's a concession you should not be making to someone who doesn't work.
No, exactly. I mean, it's not right that a woman just pretends to like somebody for a couple of years and then gets a house and an income for the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's horseshit.
Callie brought something up in one of the chats that she's in because I can't figure out which one she's actually in half the time now. I was cooking for myself by 7. My child, on the other hand, is such a mama's boy. So basically, you're taking the good work that was taught to you and totally disregarding it. And teaching a child to be a snowflake.
Yep, don't teach your kid to be a snowflake, he'll melt.
Exactly.
Wolfie says, I learned to cook at 5. I try to be a part of my kid's life, but life gets in the way. Yes, it does. It honest to God does, but, and it's one of the things, you have to work. You have to put money on the table or in food in the bank or whatever, however the hell that works. You have to do those things in order to take care of your kids. But I could see 3 weeks, yes, I'll come in to work the extra shift. 4th week, no, I got to spend some time with my kids. And that's the thing about employers too, man. Don't fucking break your back for your employer. You know why? Because when you're gone, you're replaced within a week. You don't mean anything to them.
I mean, it's one thing
you don't mean anything to them beyond what they can get out of you.
Yeah, when you work in your own business, then yeah, you got to put all the hours that God gives into it. But when you're working for somebody else, you're not as valued as you think you are.
Right. I mean, that's one thing I learned early on. When you're at work, you're replaceable.
Yeah.
You maintain that attitude, and it keeps you from getting a big head. Let's see. Evil Gunny writes, "You never said I am bored around my parents because they found something for you to do." Yeah. Yeah, that's how it used to be.
That's what I do. That's what I do with my kids. I'm bored. Right, we'll go clean your room then. Don't want to. Well, then shut up about being bored.
Yep. But I don't think that happens as much today as it used to. I think today it's more like, I'm bored. Oh, well, why don't you go play a game? Why don't you call your friends? Why don't you... No, that's not the solution you're looking for.
I'm bored today seems to be shorthand for parental unit, please entertain me.
Yes. That's the other thing, is there is a little too much focus on being entertained.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you do have to work. Sometimes I have to come onto a live stream when I have nothing to say. I didn't have much to start with when we came on, but look where the conversation's taken us, and here I am.
Well, no, we just do our usual thing, and something goes weird, like transvestite Fred from Scooby-Doo, and it just takes on a whole life of its own.
Well, that's why we have Gunny in the chat. Gunny gives us ideas. Everyone in our chat does.
Oh, yes, Gunny, the provider of the testicular nailed roof people.
He provided us with the impetus to come up with the phrase shingle dick.
For those of you that have missed it, what was it, the last episode, or was it the one before?
I think it was the last episode where we started out with the Darwin Awards. And
check out either my channel or Mitch's, you'll find it.
Yeah, Gunny saved the day on that episode of Lopez and Moosecow.
Oh, God.
That story about the guy who nailed his scrotum to a roof with a nail gun.
That's a risky take, though, going and taking something that you haven't read before, but you're just going on the supposition that it's funny because the previous Darwin Awards have been funny. So you're going to get at least one laugh out of it, and it falls flat.
You're looking for the story about the guy who knowingly pissed on an electric fence and died from heart failure.
What you're looking for is the hold my beer type.
Yeah. The classic one about the guy who connects a bunch of helium balloons to his lawn chair so he can float up and have a beer, and he wound up floating up too high and froze to death.
Yeah.
And if that's not a hold my beer scenario, I don't know what is.
UT 33200, we came from the bottom and now we are here. Welcome to the stream.
Yes.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I gotta have a sip here.
One of my regular channel commenters has decided to come and join us in live chat. Always good to see you. You're probably going to be scratching your head wondering what the fuck you've walked into, but you're still welcome aboard anyway.
If your parents raised you right, you'll know how to deal with it, god damn it. Now I probably just offended him because he was raised by wolves or some shit like that, and I didn't know about it, because that's the fucking world we live in now. Can't say anything because someone, somehow, somewhere, in some minuscule way, will be slightly kind of offended. Fuck them. That's my whole thing, is just fuck them. Fuck them if they can't take a joke. And another thing for all you parents out there, don't give your kid a fucked up name.
Shaniqua.
Save that shit for your internet profile or something. Fucking give your kid a normal fucking name, would you please? Christ, never create a situation that's gonna get your kid bullied, for Christ's sake. You name your kid fucking Moon Nail, or fucking back lawn rod. Well, you everything that happens to that kid from that point forward, that's your fucking fault.
As in, always make sure it doesn't rhyme with a swear word.
Oh, absolutely.
Like Chuck.
I witness. Hey, you think Mitch was fun?
Chuck, Mitch. I'm trying to think of other ones that rhyme.
Dan.
Damn.
Damn. Damn, Dan. Damn. Seriously, Wolfer? Wolfer? Wolfie? You named your kid Druian? Well, did you name a kid Druian or Chester? You know, it's like if you name your daughter Candy, you know she's going to grow up to be a stripper. Don't fucking do it.
What's I'm sorry, but where does Druian come from? Butt Cheeks McGee.
Butt Cheeks McGee.
Assy McArse face.
You know, you might as well name your kid Cumsack.
Vicky McBucknugget.
I mean, shit, man. You know, if you want your daughter to be a complete slut, name her Lisa.
I mean, generally speaking, boys, you have to try and keep them fairly traditional. But girls, you tend to have a little bit more leeway with.
A little bit, but let's not go too far with it. You know, one thing I hate when they do to a girl is when they feminize a male name. Like, God, what's...
Daniela.
Well, no, Danielle. That bothers me. Oh, Wesley. God. Shut up,
Wesley. Shut up, Alexander.
See, let me explain this to you, too. I'm responding to something Wolfie. Jesus Christ, I don't even have the names right. Responding to something Gunny wrote. A friend of his named his son Wolfgang Werner. I am perfectly fine with that. You know, it sounds like Wolfgang's going to be a weird name, and it is, but at the same time, it's not soft. It's not like Tyler, or Jordan, or Flynn. It's not a soft name, it's a guy's name. Wolfgang. Hey, you see who that is? Yeah, who's that? It's Wolfgang.
Yeah, but give it a soy boy to say and it'll still be...
I know, but in the end, you don't fuck with Wolfgang.
Well,
right? Because it's that kind of a name. You know, it's an Eddie.
You just call yourself Wolfie.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Obviously somebody fucked with Wolfgang and they're in our chat.
Yes. But, you know, Wolfgang's not it's just not soft. You know, but I go with George Carlin on this. Soft names make soft people.
Yeah, there is a certain thing to be said to people tend to live up to the name that...
Well, it's because language has a psychological value.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you think about it, look at almost every bit of profanity, and it all has hard letters in it, hard consonants. Fuck ends on a hard consonant. Consonant. Shit ends on a hard consonant. The cool thing about shit and fuck is because of how they start, you can wind them up a little bit, and they end abruptly.
Yeah.
Shit. Fuck. You know, that kind of thing. The one that falls out of that pattern is ass and asshole. You know, I'd say one because they're derivative. Asshole, no hard consonant, but somehow it really works as a bit of profanity. Hey, asshole. Yeah. And I think it's because it starts abruptly with the letter A, or at least it can, because it's like, hey, asshole, or it's like ass. It hurt my ass. Don't touch my ass. You know,
That's one of the things that really
it's how
annoys
you
me
use
about
it
being in the
determines
UK, is they don't say arse properly.
arse.
Arse.
Yeah.
Which really only works if you've got an Irish accent.
Yeah.
It doesn't work, maybe for Scottish as well, but Irish and Scottish, but when you're English, arse. I can't be arsed.
Now look. See this. My whole idea there about the profanity and the hard consonants really goes a long way to explain why so many people get offended at the word cunt. It's because it starts and stops abruptly.
It could well be.
Cunt. Who's this cunt? Put this in your cunt. You know, I mean.
Alright, lad, put on your cunt and smoke it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just using profanity to demonstrate that language, words, possess a psychological value. And when you name a kid Taylor, especially if it's a boy, well, you're gonna have a fucking. Basically, you're growing a future member of Antifa. You know, let's see. Gunny writes, their last name was Schultz and Grandpa was Hitler. Was Hitler Youth. Still had the uniform and knife and unit commander badge. I'm taking you're referring to the
Wolfgang.
the guy who named his son Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Werner.
Let's see. For the drug addict parents, perhaps collateral. What?
Oh, that's been in shop for a while, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, for the last 5 minutes. So
but I'm taking it way out of context at this point.
It's obviously a conversation that we've long since had and forgotten that was commented on, and we didn't catch it.
But to follow that George Carlin logic, when it comes to the psychological value of names, do you really think Hitler would have ascended to the to the office of Chancellor if his first name were Skip?
Skip Hitler.
I'm seriously, a guy named Skip would not ascend to that office at that time in history.
Yeah, but Adolf has it starts soft, and then it's a sharp slope downwards after.
Yes.
So it's friendly but commanding.
Yes, and Hitler kind of has that same value, doesn't it?
It kind of does.
I mean, there's like a weird consistency to it. So maybe that weird consistency had a psychological effect on the people who saw who was running for office. Figure, hey, consistent, maybe we got something here. The psychological effects tend to be a bit subtle, obviously, but over time, their effect can escalate.
Oh yeah.
Evil Gunny writes, Greg Hitler. It doesn't work.
Eddie Hitler.
Yeah. Bob Hitler. Bob Hitler, it's like, oh, the Hitlers moved in next door.
Philip Hitler.
Yeah. None of them work. Adolf works. It's a weird thing,
But maybe it works because it's a name we know.
Yeah. I mean, I was about to say, Hitler really changed the face of naming conventions worldwide.
I mean, it's
mustache styles.
Yeah.
Because you don't often see people with that mustache style, do you? Not anymore. Not since Hitler. Biff Hitler, Cody Hitler. These guys would never ascend to the chancellery.
Oh god, this is really difficult now because I've got a friend of mine, who is listening to our live stream and isn't talking in the YouTube chat. Instead, they're talking to me on Kick and saying Adolf means wolf, doesn't it? Does anybody know what Adolf actually means?
Wolfie? Wolfie, can you answer this one?
Wolfie Hitler.
I'm just saying that, Billy Bob Hitler would never have been a thing.
Ethel Sue Bob Hitler.
Yeah. Jim
they've,
Bob Hitler.
they've actually brought up a really interesting point here. John Wayne would still be an American actor named Marion.
Yeah, possibly.
Elton John, Reginald Dwight.
Yeah, why do you think some people change their names? You know, why do you think some people have a stage name? You know, why do you think I call myself Mitch the Ripper and not Mitch McGillicuddy?
Because that's a mouthful.
Well, yeah. Well, McGillicuddy's not my last name either. But you know, there's a reason I don't use Mitch McGillicuddy. You know, it's I want this persona to means noble wolf. Wolfie looked it up.
Talcum X has a Hitler stash and is always talking. What? Oh, you're talking about Sean King.
Sean King. God. What another fucking... Look, Sean King, Elizabeth Warren, Rachel Dolezal, they all need to just go away. I'm not saying they need to be, you know, killed in a car fire or nothing. I'm just saying go away.
They need to,
you know, you've done your fucking...
find their way back to the obscurity they came from.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You know, you've gotten on the public stage and did your... You know, you've had your chance to do your song and dance. Now just go away.
Well, I'm afraid to say Mitch's chat is beating Arakor's chat for the meaning of Adolf.
Oh, well.
By a whole minute.
The name on... Uh-oh. My first name means King of a Lower Valley in Lower German. My name actually means He Who Is as God. So, y'all can make of that what you will.
I honestly don't know what my name means. And I don't care.
Well, you are a shrubber. Your name is
my name is Roger. I'm the purveyor of shrubberies.
You arrange, design, and sell shrubberies.
Oh, what is this world coming to when anybody can just come up and say "nich" to an old woman?
Nothing is sacred. Are you saying "nich" to that old woman? Yes.
No, it's "nich." No.
Ah. Ooh. No, it's all at the back of the throat. Carl. Oh, Carl.
Only works with Lenny.
Lenny?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Lenny?
Lenny's the white one.
What, are you talking about that book, what is it, Sense and Bestiality or whatever?
No, I'm talking about The Simpsons. Carl and Lenny. Carl's the black one, and Lenny's the white one.
Ah. Let's see, I know not about The Simpsons. Because, I think I watched...
Oh god, now my friend is singing "Every Sperm is Sacred" at me over Kick in text form. God. And if a sperm is wasted, God gets quite irate.
Yes. Every sperm is useful in your neighborhood. Yeah, at least it is in mine, according to the ladies. And then I woke up. What? What happened? Did I black out again?
Carl equal Lopez in German. What? Okay, the chat's obviously on LSD now. We can't use them as a substitute for talent.
Oh my god, they've gone the way of fucking... What the fuck, Russell Brand.
They've gone the way of the doo-doo.
Speaking of... okay, there's a guy I can't stand, is Russell Brand. You know, but... And, you know, getting past his idiot politics and his, Now, the thing that kills me about Russell Brand, I was just watching an episode of QI, and for the first time I had to say, nope, fuck this show. Because Russell Brand was on it. And what gets me is if you watch him, whenever he's on a panel show type situation, if there's a studio audience, every time he speaks, he looks at the audience as if to seek approval.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, Russell Brand is he's an intelligent person, but he's also got the whole pseudo-intellectual thing going on as well.
Yes.
He's smart, but thinks he's smarter than he actually is.
Yeah, I know what the phrase means.
I'm not Atlas.
I'm
not Atlas.
Don't make me go there again by accident.
No, but I mean, Russell Brand legitimately is well-read and quite intelligent. But he's also got that politician vibe, where if he plays to the audience, he feels like he can get them on his side, and he seems to do that, especially when he's bullshitting.
Yes, and it's sad because it's obvious.
Mm.
You know, when let's see, on this episode of QI, he was sitting right next to Sandy Toksvig, who is further away from the audience than he is by probably a foot. You know, that's just the way the table is set up.
Yeah.
And when he was talking to her, he immediately turned to look at the audience while speaking to her. It's like, you disrespectful shit.
That is just plain rude.
Yes, exactly. It really speaks to many aspects of that man's personality. He's a cunt. Hard beginning, hard ending. Very abrupt, he's a cunt.
Yeah, and judging by that hairstyle, he needs a trim.
Yeah.
Waxing.
He's a 70s cunt. He's a 70s porn cunt.
Complete with mustache.
As Waffle, Jesus Christ, Gunny. Gunny puts it quite well. Brand is a soy boy twat waffle. I have to agree.
That just made me think of something. Well, the previous thing that we said just made me think of something else. I finally understood why the fashion came around for women to wax themselves down below.
Oh, really?
Well, if you think about it from the woman's point of view, any guy that goes down on them ends up looking like Cheech Marin. We don't need those stinking badgers.
Oh my god. Oh, that's an image that's never going away. Yeah, for a long time he really did have that 70s porn mustache.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Between him and Freddie Mercury, they had the mustache market well and truly sewed up.
Oh, you prick. Right in the middle of a face full of coffee. Holy shit, I'm lucky I haven't died. I'm lucky I'm still in my chair. Yeah, really, they just did. You know, there are some guys who even today could absolutely pull off the 70s porn mustache. One of them is dead. Freddie Mercury. Oh, God.
I'll tell you what, I saw a picture recently of Cheech Marin with no mustache, and oh my god, he looks weird.
It takes you a minute, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's Cheech Marin? No, well, it might be.
It'd be like seeing Tommy Chong without a beard.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that. I don't want to imagine that.
No, I've got to Google it.
I'm afraid that his beard is like covering up the secrets of the universe, and once I see him without it, you know, the universe could implode. Wait, you're actually looking it up, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got the Google foo going on.
Oh no.
Images. See how many pages I have to go before I find one without a beard. Beard. Why
don't you just put in Tommy Chong beardless?
That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Well, so much for the good.
And to my friend on Kick, no, we are not in the same room. I'm in the UK and Mitch is in the US.
That's right. Let's see.
Beardless.
See, funny part is, while you're looking up that, I'm looking up. Oh, damn!
I put in beardless.
Price of Bitcoin went down again. That's alright. It's January. It seems to be the pattern.
No, I've come to the conclusion Tommy Chong was born with a beard.
That's very possible. I mean, I know one of my friend's mothers was. Didn't do his sisters any favors either.
Oh, oh, I bet.
Yeah, Cheech does have a slight hair lip. Coffee.
Well, we've got maybe about 15 minutes before we got to wrap it up because unfortunately I now have not got the ability to rant on forever as I did previously, for the time being at least.
Well, let's shoot for a 2-hour elapsed time.
I don't even know what we're on at the moment.
Right now we're on a
1 hour 50.
I got 1:51 and 20 seconds.
Oh, I started you off a couple of seconds before me. Yeah, you've got 20 seconds on me, so I've just hit 1:51.
Dun dun dun. No, we know Cheech is not Tommy Chong. Gunny, what?
Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong. We established this right when the joke was told.
What happened? I don't know what happened. I think I got lost.
Obviously, he's smoking some good shit.
God, hopefully. I wish I could.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, I wonder if access to good weed would make me piss less, or make me smoke less tobacco.
Well, it certainly makes me smoke less tobacco, and I don't know about pissing less because I just giggle myself into a puddle.
Well, that's true. It may make me smoke more weed if I decide I like it. You know.
I've tend to find that I'll sort of like make one smoke, and I'll have that, and then I'll smoke less tobacco.
That's interesting.
Because if I make it long enough, I'll smoke it in 3 or 4 sections. So whenever I want to smoke, I'll just have a couple of hits and let it go back out, and I'll be fine. I won't even think about it. Whereas alcohol, when I drink that, I tend to want to do nothing but smoke.
Yeah, there's something about having a drink that has always left me in a position where it's like, God damn it, where's my cigarette?
Yeah.
I had just lit it half an hour ago. Where's it gone?
And that, I don't know whether it's a psychological thing, whether it's a chemical thing. You know, like alcohol and tobacco are sort of natural partners or something like that. Like chocolate and ice cream, chocolate and peanut butter. or what, but it seems like the fact that people can't actually have a smoke with a drink because everywhere is non-smoking now in the UK has totally killed off the pub trade.
Yep. Yeah, might as well stay home.
It might even be...
the thing, you know, this is my problem with that shit, man. You want to live in a free country, you want to keep, and I'm referring to America right now. If America wants to keep claiming it's a free country, then you better damn well let every business owner decide whether or not they want to allow smoking on their premises. It's not your premises. It's theirs. They own it. They make decisions for it. They determine that premise's destiny, not you. Fuck off. You don't want to shop there, you don't want to eat there, that's fine.
There was a guy up in Blackpool in the UK who actually challenged the smoking ban on that exact
on those grounds?
Yeah, on those grounds, and they basically what they did is they got the council to fine him out of existence so that he couldn't
really?
afford to continue the case.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
Can't win the
I mean,
case, so we'll just make it so you can't fight it.
Right. That's why I better pray that I never find myself having more money than I care to do with. 'Cause fucking, I will fight some shit.
Because, I mean,
If I can afford it, I will fucking. I mean, if I wind up sitting on $70 trillion, you're goddamn right I'm going to fight some of those laws.
I mean, that smoking ban is perhaps the stupidest law that has ever hit any country. Because if you think about it, you ban smoking in public places. Yeah, I can understand like shopping malls and stuff like that. But when you're doing bars and clubs and pubs, you're basically making it so people don't want to go out to the pubs. If people aren't going out to the pubs, it means that the landlord is unable to hire as many staff as he used to be able to, because there's not enough custom. He's selling less beer, so there's less beer being sold by the brewery, which of course beer is being taxed by the government. The government can't tax the tobacco nearly as highly because they're not selling as much. Well, they're still selling the same amount, but they're not getting it on the beer. And the whole trickle down is just costing jobs, and it's costing freedoms.
Well, it actually, there's one case where the smoking ban is costing people their health, and that's on airplanes.
Oh yeah, when people were allowed to smoke on airplanes, they actually filtered the air better in them.
Right. Now they filter the air about 1/3 as much as they really should.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when there was smoking on the planes, the air exchange was extreme, and everyone had good air to breathe.
Yeah.
Not now. Now you're stuck basically breathing everyone else's swill.
And all of the microbes and germs and everything else is in
Yes.
there. I mean, I flew over
Hey,
to...
you get one sick kid on that plane, everyone's infected.
Yeah. I flew over
Because
to Florida
they
and
don't
came
allow
off of the
smoking.
plane with an illness. I flew back from Florida and exactly the same thing because the air was just not being filtered.
Right. Smoking on aircraft, on airliners, meant that you would be healthier if you flew. Ironically, because of how regularly they filtered the air.
Yeah. And I'm sure there has to be some sort of argument that goes along the lines of the passive smoke that was in the bars. If this theory that I've got that alcohol and tobacco are natural complements to each other, if that theory works, the second-hand smoke would also be enhancing the drinking habits of the other patrons of the pub anyway.
Yeah.
It was certainly enhancing the atmosphere, because you go for the atmosphere, and people were always relaxed, sitting, having a smoke, having a drink, and having a great old time. Instead, all of the interesting people are stood outside in the rain.
Yep. And all the boring people are left inside to monitor purses. Breathing in dune coon dust. Okay, that's an interesting...
What the?
Ah, gotcha.
Is that an Iraq joke?
I think so. But it's sad, you know. I'm just gonna mumble here for a minute.
Gurgle, mumble, gurgle.
It's insane, you know. We've already pretty much established in the West that a free society is the way to go. It's what got us to where we are now. You know, it's what's given us things like the internet and nuclear power, and, you know, strong military forces, healthy people. You know, get the fuck out of our way. Let us be free. We don't need you inhibiting our progress. Yeah, Gunny points this out, and he's quite right to do so. Bars are not and never have been health clubs.
No, exactly. The whole argument that they had for banning smoking in the bars is, well, the bar staff don't want to be getting sick from secondhand smoke. Well, they can get another fucking job.
Pretty much, yeah.
If
Or
they-
you know what? Let's have some freedom, and they can go get a job in a pub where smoking isn't allowed because that's what the owner of that pub wants.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, even if the beer was like 50 cents or 50 pence more expensive, I would go to the bar that lets me smoke and pay 50 cents a beer more.
Yeah.
Than go to the one that.
Honestly, the secondhand smoke scare is just that.
Oh yeah.
There's actually the data says something that the marketing does not want to admit to. Just look up the EPA report on secondhand smoke and go through the body of the report. Do not bother with the synopsis at the end, because the synopsis at the end indicates something different than the body of the report. It was either the EPA. It was either the EPA or the CDC. I don't remember which. But I read the body of the report, and it indicates a less than 1% chance that someone exposed to secondhand smoke will experience detrimental health effects.
And on that note, we have hit the 2-hour mark, so kids, you've got your homework until next time we meet. Go and read up about secondhand smoking, then when we're back next time you can educate us both.
Because by that time, we will have forgotten.
Oh yes, most definitely. And speaking of secondhand smoke, screw that shit. I'm going to log this stream off, and then I'm going to go and get myself some first-hand smoke.
I'm tired of third-hand smoke.
Third-hand?
Third-hand smoke is all those assholes complaining about second-hand smoke.
Oh, I thought that was the natural product of blowing smoke up your ass. Eventually it has to come back out.
Well, you say potato, I say potato.
Well, let's call the whole thing off.
You got it.
So, we will catch you next time on Lopez and Moosecow, or Mopeds and Loose Cow, or I don't know. I'm going. Bye.
See ya.